Don't y'all worry. What's good all day? Oh, let's see. What's good all day, fam? So Monday Night Football is in the books. Week 8, week 7. What's this? Week 17. Yeah, week 17 is in the books, and that was a great game between the Atlanta Falcons and the Los Angeles Rams. So I predicted the Rams. I told y'all last night what my thoughts about this game was. I told you all, I was like, I know the Rams, they're one of the best teams in the NFC, but the fact of the matter, give me one. The fact of the matter is that the Rams, I told you all that they are flying across the country, and a lot of that plays into factor. And the fact of the matter is the past couple of weeks, they haven't really been, how can I say it? They haven't really been playing very well. And there were some games that they were a little bit on and off. Matthew Stafford, he had little games where he's been on and off. And the Falcons, I've been saying this all year long, all season long, that the Falcons are a team that they're built. They're like the Panthers. The Falcons and the Panthers. No, the Panthers. The Falcons and the Panthers remind me a lot of each other. They have really great personnel. They have really great talent, and they're just inconsistent. Unfortunately, the Falcons has been way more inconsistent this year than the Panthers has been. But the Falcons, they are one of the most. They actually have one of the most elite talent in the entire NFL. I mean, you're talking about from top to bottom, and they have really pretty good. And then Raheem Morris, I mean, he's a defensive coordinator. Their defense should be a lot better than what they are. I don't understand. I don't get it. I haven't really been that big on Raheem Morris. This is his second year. I mean, he was hired last year in January, but I'll give Raheem Morris a little bit more time. I know I've been saying that I think the Falcons should walk away from Raheem Morris, but I'm gonna give him some time. I'll probably give him maybe another year or so. They should be with that talent. I don't care, he has just been hired. With that talent, they should at least be making it into the playoffs every year. I mean, you're talking about Bijan Robinson, Drake London. Who's the tight end? I forget their tight end's name. Hold on, let me go to this game real quick. Let's see. Look at their roster. Let's see. Atlanta. God, I forget their tight end's name. It's crazy. Let's see. Okay. Let's see roster. Oh yeah, there we go. Kyle Pitts. I don't know. Sometimes I'm bad with these guys. I forget their names. But yeah, Kyle Pitts, one of extremely very highly talented tight end. I mean, Kyle Pitts should be like what Brock Bowers should be. What Brock Bowers is in Las Vegas. I mean, not like a lot of these guys. Like you have a highly talented team, and this is the second year in a row when your team has not made the playoffs. There should be no excuse. Like I don't really care how you just got hired. I mean, Jim Harbaugh has only been with the Chargers for 2 years, and the Chargers are going to the playoffs for the second year in a row. So, I mean, the talent is there. So I don't really see why the Atlanta Falcons are missing the playoffs again. So I'm going to give Raheem Morris one more year, but I think after next year, if they miss the playoffs again, that's a problem. And I get it. They don't really have a quarterback. Michael Penix hasn't really showed up. He hasn't really been what they thought. And I know I've been saying this too. When they drafted Michael Penix, I was like, I think Michael Penix is going to be a really great quarterback in the league. He was one of my favorite quarterbacks coming out of the draft of last year. But I did mention that I think he can be injury prone, and his history of injuries has always concerned me. So. But Michael Penix, I mean, he's still a young quarterback. I mean, he's very young. This is only his first year. Last year was his rookie, so he can get better. I mean, injuries can probably not play a huge factor in his career. Maybe, going to the offseason, he can have a really great offseason, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And maybe he can, he won't be an injury prone quarterback, and maybe he could be more durable than what he has been. So I think Michael Penix has shown some flashes of greatness, has shown some flashes that he can be an elite quarterback, but only time will tell. He's still so young. Like I said before, like I think out of all these quarterbacks, we should at least give them about 4 or 5 years, 6 max, going to the NFL. It's only fair for a position that's as valuable and complicated as the quarterback position. It's unfortunate that nowadays is that a lot of like every single team, every single roster, the coaches, the media, they were so ready to crucify quarterbacks in really their first year in the NFL. I mean, not everybody's going to come out looking like CJ Stroud or Justin Herbert or Jaden Daniels. Not everybody's going to have those type of rookie seasons. So, but given the fact that how complicated the position is, and so much that they have to know, really, it's realistically speaking that we should give quarterbacks at least minimum 4 years, 6 years max. If they're not really producing, not really showing, not showing any type of flashes that they can be great within the time frame, I would say between 4 to 6 years, then I think that's the time for a team to move on. Now, I'm not saying that a team shouldn't try to draft another quarterback for more competition, or pick up a veteran quarterback. But what I'm saying is that a team just should not automatically be ready to move on from a quarterback, at least 4 years on the team, because it's just, there's a lot to go and play with that, and especially given the fact that what franchise are they going to, who's their coaches, so that plays a huge factor as well, because sometimes these quarterbacks, they get placed in the most worst situations, especially if they were elite coming out of college. So if you're elite out of college, you're going to go into the worst. Ideally, you're going into the worst situation in the NFL. So you should be giving grace on how long a team is going to move on from you. You know what I'm saying? Until a team move on from you. So I mean, Tom Brady said it himself. Tom Brady even said that he even thinks rookies shouldn't even start. So because that alone just tells you that there's a lot to go to play with this. And Tom Brady even said that there were some things that he wasn't even doing until years in the game, because there's so much to study and so much to learn. So, I mean, given the fact that quarterbacks are being crammed so much information when they first get into the league, and they're being asked for so much responsibility when first get into the league, you got to give them credit, especially when they're going through offensive coordinators and going through coaches, because they're having to learn a whole new playbook. And learning those playbooks is like learning a whole different language. It's like learning a foreign language. So, that's one of the things I do like about guys like Justin Herbert or Jalen Hurts, those type of quarterbacks, because they have faced, especially Jalen Hurts, because I think every single year he has had a different coordinator, especially since his college years. So that just tells you how smart of a quarterback Jalen Hurts is. So, but I'm getting kind of off topic, but Michael Penix, I'm making a case that I think, the Falcons should stick with Michael Penix Jr. And I think Michael Penix, I think he could be a really good quarterback, but his durability is going to play a huge factor in how his career is going to end up, because even when he was in college, he was injured a lot. I saw that when he was at Washington and they played against Michigan, and how he was just beaten up. Michigan beat him down. And I think he had a rib injury or something like that. So that kind of turned me off. But I watched him at Washington, though. He's very talented. He has a really talented arm. He could spin the ball, and surprisingly, he's fast. I didn't even know he could run a 4.4. He ran a 4.4 40 after the 40-yard dash. And so, I mean, the talent is there. I mean, everything is there, man. I would like to see more out of Atlanta next year. And I would like to see Michael Penix, being more durable than what he has been. So that's that. I mean, Kirk Cousins. I think Kirk Cousins is their insurance policy. Michael Penix Jr., if he doesn't play out, they put Kirk Cousins right in, like what they did just now. They won. I think they won 2 games with Kirk Cousins. So Kirk Cousins has been playing. So I mean, he beat the Rams. He knocked the Rams off. So I mean, we're going to see. It's going to be a very, very interesting offseason. It's going to be before we jump to offseason. It's going to be a very, very interesting playoffs. But it's going to be very interesting to see what some of these teams are going to do in the offseason. Teams like the Atlanta Falcons, the Miami Dolphins. It's going to be very interesting to see where the route that these teams are going to go in the offseason. And you guys already know I'm going to be right here. I'm going to be your main news source. Anything that's popping up, any kind of news information in the NFL, and soon to be the college, because I will be following college as well. But any information, I'm making videos on it. I'm gonna be writing newsletters on it and stuff, and pretty much soon doing posts, daily posts on the odd day news social media platform. But until then, I'll just be doing every primetime game live here. But so let's see here. Let me go to the game real quick. Let me see. I think Matthew Stafford three picks. So I want to. So what does this game factor Matthew Stafford's MVP race for this year? Matthew Stafford was really never my MVP quarterback of this year. It was always I was looking at. Well, I have to say, I mean, Matthew Stafford has had a historic career. Has had a historic career, historic season, and he snapped off every single game. But there has been some games where there has been question marks, like this game. And I think this game alone, in my humble opinion, I don't think he should win the MVP race off this game alone, because there has been another quarterback that has been very well throughout the year, and hasn't had a 3-point game, and that's Drake May. I think Drake May with Justin Herbert, with Justin Herbert not winning against the Texans and him sitting out next week, I think Justin Herbert is pretty much out of it. If Justin Herbert would have snapped off against the Texans and would have snapped off against Denver, I think he would have been well run at number one. If he would have threw for 300 yards plus against Texans, 300 yards plus against the Denver Broncos, and won both of those games, I think everybody would have been stating the case that he should win the MVP, but he didn't do that. So right now I'm thinking Drake May. And I think Drake May, in my opinion, I think he had a better season than Matthew Stafford. I mean, give Drake May and Justin Herbert, Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams. What you think they're going to do with that? So Matthew Stafford's numbers are not that much better than Herbert's, given the fact that what Matthew Stafford had. You know what I'm saying? They're not that much better than Drake May, given the fact of what Drake May had. You see what I'm saying? So, and I'm not taking anything away from Matthew Stafford. I've always been a huge fan of Matthew Stafford ever since he came out of Georgia. And when he was playing with Detroit, Matthew Stafford, I thought he was always a great quarterback. Always. I've always been a fan of him. But I'm just being real. I just don't think he should be MVP. And I'm not going to be mad if he does. I mean, he had a great career. He had a great year. So, but I just think that there's been 2 other quarterbacks who's played better than him this year, given what they had and given what Matthew Stafford had. But Kyren Williams had Matthew Stafford was 22 for 38, 269 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 picks. And he was sacked 3 times. He had a quarterback rating of 64.5. And then Kyren Williams, 13 carries, 92 yards. Blake Corum did absolutely nothing, 6 carries for 18 yards. And let's see what Falcons. Let's see what Kirk Cousins did. Kirk Cousins was 13 out of 20, 126 yards, 1 touchdown. So Kirk Cousins really didn't do anything at all this year, this game. But he was solid. He was okay. He wasn't a reason why. He doesn't look like he was the reason why they won. And obviously he wasn't a reason why. Oh my goodness, B.J. Robinson he snapped off. He had 22 carries for 195 yards and 1 touchdown and a long rushing touchdown. His longest rushing yards was 93 yards. So Bijan Robinson went off. But this just shows that teams that focus are more reliable on running the ball, opposed to teams that just tries to light the scoreboard up, passing the ball. You run like I always feel like you run the wing, you pass the score. So the Falcons, they outplayed the Rams. It looked like they outplayed them in all phases of the game. So I mean, shout out to the Falcons. That's what I'm saying. And this is another thing. The Falcons, they're ending the season on a good note. Because even though the Falcons are out of the playoffs, you want to end the season on a good note. So you want to win as many games you can into the season so you can carry that momentum off into the off season, preseason, and then going on to next year. So I'm liking what the Falcons are doing. I want the Falcons to keep stacking and keep building on top of this. I've been saying all year they're too talented of a team to not at least make it to the playoffs. Too talented. They got too much talent on there. And then they have a defensive coordinator, Raheem Morris. They're built. They're almost like the Panthers. Actually, they're more talented than the Panthers. That's the thing about the Falcons. They're more talented than the Panthers. They're probably the most talented team in the NFC South outside of the Buccaneers. Because given the fact the Falcons and the Bucks are almost identical, because given the fact that the Falcons have a defensive coordinator, they have a defensive coach. Their head coach is he's supposed to be a defensive mastermind. So given great win by the Falcons. Cousins starts the year, they win the South. I mean, so you're saying if the Falcons starts next year, I mean, if Kirk Cousins starts next, or you're saying if they would have started him this year, they would have won the South. I guess it doesn't matter either way. I mean, I can't disagree with you. I've never really been a fan of Kirk Cousins, but when Kirk Cousins is hot, and if you can keep him, and if you can keep him upright, if you can protect Kirk Cousins, I I actually agree with you on that. Yeah, if the Falcons did start Kirk Cousins, they will win the South. But what I was beginning at was that the Falcons are built to at least go deep into the playoffs. You got a head coach who's a defensive coordinator, who's a defensive mastermind. You have a great running back who's arguably who has Hall of Fame talent, and the only type of running back that really that the only type of running back Bijan Robinson is almost like LaShawn McCoy because he's so great in space as a running back. And he's very, very similar to LaShawn McCoy. And LaShawn McCoy, there has really never been a running back that has been as shifty and as great as open space as LaShawn McCoy. Maybe Barry Sanders, but LaShawn McCoy is kind of a different running back than Barry Sanders. But the point I'm making is that Bijan Robinson is a really, really great running back, and his talent is very rare. And this should be then. So they have a great running game. They got a great wide receiver in Drake London, USC great. Shout out to Drake London. They got I don't know why I keep forgetting their tight end's name, but their tight end their tight end has Hall of Fame talent. Their tight end is supposed to be like what Brock Bowers is right now. So they have an elite offense. You know what I'm saying? And then they have a defensive mastermind coach in Raheem Morris. They were doing what I'm talking about early this year. I don't know what happened to the Falcons. They just fell off. I don't like Kirk Cousins either, but he is better than the rest of the quarterbacks in the South. I agree with you on that. 100%. He definitely is. He's better than I would definitely put Kirk Cousins over Baker and Tyler. Was it Tyler Shaw? Yeah. And now I do like Bryce Young. I'm a huge fan of Bryce Young. So I don't know. Bryce Young is very inconsistent though. So yeah, you're making a case. I can't completely disagree with you on that. But yeah, I agree with you. But yeah, but we're gonna see, man. We're gonna see next year if where the Falcons are gonna do. I mean, they should really be in the playoffs right now. They should be a lot more further than where they are, and they're not. So I mean, but I'm not surprised that they won this game. I said that they was going to beat the Rams 25-23. They beat the Rams 27-24. So that's that. Yeah. So, but let's see. Is there anything else? What games we got a game on Thursday night? I think we got a game on Thursday night. Well, let me see. What's Thursday night football? Let's see. Going into week 18. This is going to be my last video going into the new year. Before the year. Yeah, my last video of the year. But let me see what I got. Let me see what's on Thursday. Let's see who plays on Thursday night football. What's the next game for Thursday night? Let's see. Or is the next game Saturday? Let's see. Hey, you're right. You know who plays on? Is there a game on Thursday night? All right. I just want to see who's playing Thursday night football. Oh no. Yeah, so there's no more Thursday night football games. That's it, right? It's I think like the last week. Last week was the last week. So you got a doubleheader on Saturday though. We got a doubleheader on Saturday. I think the doubleheader on Saturday is. Let me see who the doubleheader on Saturday. Let's see. Let's see. And I think they're really two good games on Saturday. Week 18. So we got, speaking of NFC South, we got the Panthers and the Buccaneers. The Panthers got to win this game. I think if the Panthers lose this game, they're out. So they have to win this game. And then we got the Seahawks and the 49ers. We got two really great NFC showdowns on Saturday. Two really, really great games. Both of these games are more than likely going to end up on like in a nail biter. The point differential is probably going to be like 1 point. So I'm gonna go ahead and give you my predictions right now. I think the Panthers. I'm gonna go with the Panthers. The Panthers going to beat the Buccaneers. They're going to win the NFC South. They're going to go into the playoffs, and they probably be a one and done team in the playoffs. The Panthers going to beat the Buccaneers. I'm gonna say. Let me put up my notepad real quick because I want to write this down. And they just played Carolina. They just played Carolina. I'm gonna go ahead and say. I'm gonna say Panthers gonna beat Tampa Bay 29. I'm gonna say 30. I'm gonna say 30 to 28. Panthers beats Buccaneers 30 to 28. And then you got the Seattle Seahawks and the 49ers. God, that's gonna be a very brutal game. That game can go either way. Both teams are elite. Both teams are really good. Seattle's defense is really good. I like Seattle's defense. The 49ers defense has been a little shaky lately. You know, you'll think Robert Saleh would get that defense right before heading into the playoffs. But I'm going to go with the Seahawks on this game. I've been riding with Seattle all year. And so it's not a surprise to me how great Seattle is. You know, they got my boy Sam Darnold over there. Their defense is elite. I like their running backs. I like their wide receiver, Jackson Smith-Njigba. He's arguably the best wide receiver in the league right now. I mean, you're talking about, there has been argument about and debate about Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, which one is better? You know, if just Jay Jetta is 1A, Chase is 1B, or Chase is 1A, Jetta is 1B, you know, but Jackson Smith-Njigba, if they 1A, 1B, Jackson Smith-Njigba is 1C, you know, so because he's right there. Like he's highly, highly talented wide receiver. I mean, he can run any route, catch the ball in any space, you know, and he's so great in creating space. You know, I really like Jackson. I really like JSN, but I'm gonna go with the Seattle. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Seattle. I think Seattle is gonna pull through, and I'm gonna say Seattle's gonna win this 24 to. Let's see anything. 24 to. I'm gonna say 24 to 23. Yeah, so I got both games in a no-biter, slightly high-scoring games, but I think I'm gonna stick with the Panthers and I'm gonna stick with the Seahawks. You know, so I predicted early this year that the Panthers was gonna win their division, and they have. So, but anyway, that's what I got for y'all, man. That's all I have for tonight. It was a really great game tonight. It was a really great games throughout the board in week 17 and week 18. Week 18 is looking the same. Let me see what games you got week 18. Let me see. I'm not gonna give y'all my predictions right now for week 18, but I want to see what games we got. Oh, Phillip Rivers. My brother's showing me a picture of Phillip Rivers. My brother is the biggest Phillip Rivers fan ever. And it kind of annoys me because I actually like Phillip Rivers, but it's people like him that makes me like disrespect Phillip Rivers because I have to like give reality, like break off reality to him. that Philip Rivers isn't a top 5, top 10 quarterback of all time. Like I can name 10 quarterbacks right now of all time that I would draft over Philip Rivers as a GM, and I can name 10 quarterbacks that's better than Philip Rivers right now, like of all time. So he's top 15. I'll put Philip Rivers top 15 of all time. But other than that, I mean, if you're thinking Philip Rivers is top 10, I think you're kind of overrating him, in my opinion. If you're just going strictly based on stats, yes, Philip Rivers is a top 10 quarterback of all time. If you go just based on stats, but I don't go. I'm not a stats guy. So, but hold on, let me see week 18. All right, so week 18 games. You got I'm gonna go over these games real quick. I'm not gonna give you my predictions though. I'll give you my predictions on prime time Saturday evening. So yeah, I'm gonna give my predictions. I give you my predictions for Saturday's game. I'll give you my predictions for Sunday evening. But I got you got the Panthers Bucks, Seahawks 49ers Saturday, January 3rd. So y'all try to forget that there's a doubleheader on Saturday. Then you got the Saints, the Falcons. That's gonna be another good game right there. The Saints have been playing very well ending the season. The Falcons playing very well ending the season. So this is what I like to see out of both teams. Even though both of those teams are out of the playoffs, that's going to be a great game. It's going to be a great game, Saints and the Falcons. And in NFC South, they always be beating up on each other. They're always competitive. Browns, Bengals. So that's going to be another great game. We got Shador going against Joe Burrow. Even though I don't like going quarterback versus quarterback, but you got Shador. That's going to be a very entertaining game. Very entertaining game. And the Browns, they always beat the Bengals. Always. So don't be surprised if the Browns beat the Bengals in Seattle. So don't be surprised on that. So that's going to be a great game. And I heard word on the street, Joe Burrow will be playing his last game. Well, not his last game as a Bengal, but last game of this year. So you got the Colts and the Texans. You got Philip Rivers going against the Texans defense. I hope Philip Rivers don't get hurt. I hope he's walking after that game, because the Texas defense is nothing to sneeze at. That's a physical defense. It's an intense, physical, very physical defense. So that's going to be a very great game. The Colts against the Texans, and then we got the Titans and the Jaguars. I think that game's going to end up being a blowout. Even though the Titans has been playing a little bit better, and Cam Ward has been playing a little bit better going into the later in the season, but I think that game's going to end up being a blowout. We got the Packers and the Vikings. The Vikings might sneak up on the Packers. So that's going to be a great game. We got the Cowboys and the Giants. That might be a good game too. And then we got the Jets and the Bills. I think that's going to be well, the Jets, they kind of always play good against the Bills, but that's not an exciting game. We got the Lions and the Bears. That's going to be a great game. The Lions, they always play great against the Bears. And we got the Chargers and the Broncos. Unfortunately, that game is you might as well not watch that game. Justin Herbert isn't playing. And I'm very, very mad about that, because I would have liked to have seen Justin Herbert break Peyton Manning's passing yards in the first 6 seasons of their career. But unfortunately, Jim Harbaugh wants to sit Justin Herbert down for this game. I get it. Justin Herbert is hurt. You want to make sure he's healthy going into the playoffs. I understand that. But, let me share this screen so y'all can see what I'm talking about. Hold on, my bad. But I get it. Like, I understand why Jim Harbaugh is sitting Justin Herbert. I think we all understand why he's sitting Justin Herbert. But my thing is, correct me if I'm wrong, was it not Nick Sirianni who decided to play Saquon Barkley and not sitting him down for him to break the rushing record? I think that was the case last year. I'm feeling like that could have been the case for Jim Harbaugh and Justin Herbert. Like, I know Justin Herbert doesn't care, and Jim Harbaugh probably went to Justin Herbert and asked him, "Did you care about that? Did you care about that 6-season passing record that you can break, Peyton Manning that you can break?" Justin Herbert is the guy to say, "I don't care about that." That's Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert probably act like he didn't even know. He probably act like he didn't even know he had that record broken. But I think, like, as a head coach, and I'm not challenging Jim Harbaugh by any means. Like, I have all the world's respect for Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh is going to be a Hall of Famer. But I think, like, sometimes, as a head coach, when you make it known that that's why you're going to start your player, he's going to look at you in a different way. He may not say anything, but he's going to look at you in a different way. He's going to be like, "Oh, wow." Like, in my opinion, I'm like, "Oh, wow, he really cares." Like, he actually thinks that he doesn't only care about, just winning. He cares about how I look as well, as I guess you could say it. Because when it's all said and done, when you're looking at their resume, for them to be up for the Hall of Fame, yes, everybody's going to be looking at wins, losses, in Super Bowl wins, but they also going to be looking at stats. They're also going to be looking at the records being broken. All that stuff just adds more to the juice, because then it's one thing about being in the Hall of Fame, and then there's another about being a first ballot Hall of Famer. There's different halls in the Hall of Fame, and there's elite halls in the Hall of Fame, because and then that given what I'm saying by that is some guys are in the Hall of Fame that I don't think that should be in the Hall of Fame, and there's some guys who probably belongs in the Hall of Fame, and there's other guys and but they can't hold a candle to the elite guys who are like mentioned as top 5 or top 10 of all time that are in the Hall of Fame, because not everybody in the Hall of Fame that we all know are top 10 in their position of all time. You get what I'm saying? So that to me just adds more to Justin Herbert's resume, because we are not just arguing that Justin Herbert should be belonging in the Hall of Fame. We all know that Justin Herbert has Hall of Fame talent. Now the case is, can Justin Herbert be a top 5 of all time when it's all said and done? And so these are things that solidifies arguments when he does retire. I mean, we're talking about Peyton Manning is the only quarterback to have that many rush passing yards in his first 6 seasons. We're talking about Peyton Manning. The only quarterback that I could argue that's better than Peyton Manning is Tom Brady. Some people will say maybe Joe Montana, but I think Peyton Manning is a better quarterback than Joe Montana. So, but it's whatever. I won't be as mad if the Chargers wins at least 2-3 playoff games. I'll be like, okay, it was worth it. It was worth him forfeiting that 6-season passing record, for him to win 3 playoff wins. So I won't be okay. I won't be mad, because right now Justin Herbert has 0 playoff wins, and that is the only knock on Justin Herbert right now. Nobody else can say anything bad about him. He has done absolutely everything that you're going to ask for in the regular season. So now it's like, let's get in the preseason now. So if he can get at least 1 to 3 playoff wins, man, let's get it. So then we got the Cardinals and the Rams. That might be a good game. Don't be surprised if the Cardinals play really good against the Rams. Don't be surprised if they beat them, but they're not. The Rams just came out for the loss. The Cardinals aren't beating up. Then we got the Chiefs and the Raiders. That game, I mean, if you just like football, you just watch that game. There's nothing really exciting about that game. Dolphins, Patriots. You got. I mean, that game. Don't be surprised if the Dolphins beat the Patriots. The Dolphins always play well against New England. Always. Tom Brady always had issues with Dolphins. So don't be surprised if the Dolphins beat the Patriots, but the Dolphins are going to New England. So, and it might be cold in New England. I don't know what the degrees is going to be, the temperature is going to be, but the Dolphins, since Mike McDaniel's been there, they've shown that they can't even win below 40 degrees. So if it's anything below 40 degrees, you already know the Dolphins losing. So, but still, that game might be a good game though. The Commanders and the Eagles. That game, that's not going to be a good game. And then you got Sunday Night Football, Ravens and the Steelers, pretty much ending Week 18. And I'm pretty sure there's probably be a Monday night game, but I don't see it on here. So yeah, that's going to be a great game though, Ravens and Steelers. All right, so that's all I got for y'all right now, and I thank you all so much for watching. This was a great Week 17 Monday Night Football game, and and be prepared for me to be on here after primetime games on Saturday night. So I thank you all so much. Like, comment, share, subscribe. This is All Day. Deuces.